Hello everyone, it's Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope everyone's doing okay. It's Friday again. Sunday, Monday, what? It's Friday, guys. Love Friday. That Friday feeling, the Friday show. Love it. Absolutely love it, of course. And you know what? It is match weekend as well. So we've got a match to look forward to on Sunday as well. Having won the last match, can you believe it? We actually won the last match. So guys, please, before I start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and smash a like on the video if you guys can do that for me. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, I want to get straight into it. But firstly, I'm going to start on a little bit of a downer. In regards to Roy Keane and Roy Keane's comments on the overlap on Sky Sports with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. What I would say in regards to that, right? And look, Roy Keane is a very, very passionate individual, a guy who's seen it all, won it all for Manchester United, instrumental in Manchester United winning the treble, of course, all those many years ago in 1998, 1999. He epitomized what Manchester United was, what a Manchester United player should be like. He epitomized it. Now, when I see the reaction yesterday in regards to Bruno Fernandes and his comments in regards to Bruno Fernandes, I believe that two things can be true. I think what he's saying partly is true. There's a number of things that are true. Those who are turning around to us and saying that Bruno has been fantastic, Bruno is the best player since sliced bread, will be lying to ourselves. And that is the reason why our expectations and standards will lower because, you know, he has been poor for many, many years, right? Well, I wouldn't say years, many, many months. Apologies. So for many, many months, he has been poor. And this has to be highlighted. Now, look, when you look at football in general, guys, when you look at what football isn't just about stat padding, right? You can have players like Paul Scholes, right? For example, David Beckham, and you can have Ryan Giggs. Statistically, they may not be as good as Bruno, you know, in regards to goals and returns and assists and stuff like that. But overall impact in the team is better. For example, you know, if we had a captain who can lead us out, take the team forward, instead of playing poorly, starting poorly against the likes of Ipswich, against the likes of Everton and teams like that, we may have more chance of winning rather than relying on moments, right? It's great that Bruno sometimes gives us moments. More times than not, he doesn't, because that is the reason he hasn't scored a free kick in how many years before that free kick against Everton. We have to remember that, you know. So what Roy Keane was saying, to me, a lot of it was factual, right? Bruno hasn't been fantastic, right? But at the same time, when I twist it, right, and I turn it in the other way, two things can be true at the same time. I would say that Bruno Fernandes is unfortunate to be in a team that is in a mess, a football club that is in a mess. Our ex-pros, i.e. Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, came at a time when we had stability, when we had the great Sir Alex Ferguson, when we had a great ownership, when we were winning on the pitch. So it's very easy to look in hindsight and look at the past and look at the present and make a judgment. If you're an ex-player, you can easily make a judgment and judge Bruno Fernandes for, you know, and say that, oh, but Bruno Fernandes is this, Bruno Fernandes is that. But you have to look at things in context. Bruno Fernandes is brought into a team that is in disarray, a football club that is in a mess. So whoever played in 1992, 93, 94, 95 were in a privileged position, because regardless of what it is, and I'll tell you right this, and this is no disrespect as a guy who witnessed it all, okay? As a guy who witnessed it all, if Gary Neville was Ian Hart, if Gary Neville was Warren Barton, if Gary Neville was Danny Mills, he'll have the same success as them. He'll have the same success. Those guys will have the same success as Gary Neville. Why would they have the same success as Gary Neville? Now, and this is no detriment to Gary Neville, because he was a fantastic player. Because they were coming to a winning environment, a team that was winning, an environment that is winning, a world-class manager, a world-class team, the best team in the world. And that is the difference between now and then. If Bruno Fernandes walked into the team in 1995, 1996, he would look a superstar. He would look a superstar because At the end of the day, when you look at the team then, they had players around who can complement you. There's players around that will back you up. You know, there's players around that cover the spaces. And that is the difference. That's the fundamental difference between now and then. I agree with Roy Keane in a way. I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with the anger. And because at the end of the day, I do say that Bruno Fernandes has been poor for many, many months, but I do say that Bruno Fernandes has also got us out of some mess in recent times as well. But I would also say that it's not necessarily true, as Ian Wright said, that we would be in a relegation zone if Bruno Fernandes was not playing. For me, that is not true, because that is hypothetical. We might be further up the table when Bruno Fernandes weren't playing, because at the end of the day, it's looking like this, guys. Football is not just an absolute. It's not like, oh, if he plays, you win this. If we beat, for example, if we beat Arsenal, that means you should beat every team in the league because we beat Arsenal. It doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, you could say that maybe the shape of the team might be better. Maybe Man United might go forward a little bit more, and maybe Man United might play better as a team. And if you play better as a team, more times than not, you're more likely to win the game. But we look at things as they are now. Bruno Fernandes plays for Man United. And to be honest with you, I would say in Bruno Fernandes' corner again is that he's not the biggest problem in the football team. He's not the biggest problem in this football team. There are many problems in this football team that have not been addressed. But the elephant in the room here, the biggest problem at Manchester United is the Glazers. The Glazers are the problem at Man United. And as I've always said, if things are patchy from the top, they're going to infect the rest of the club. They're going to infect from top to bottom, right the way down to the pitch if things are patchy. You're only as good as what you're only, a representation of what the owners are. The model, the ownership should represent the model of what you are. And if things are poisonous from the top, you're going to get poison on the pitch as well. And this is what I would say in regards to that. Now, I agree with a lot of Roy Keane. And Roy Keane, listen, it's very easy to dismiss Roy Keane. It's very easy to say, he don't know what he's talking about. He's an absolute clown. That guy is the reason we won a treble, guys. That guy is the reason we come from 2-0 down at the Stadio delle Alpi in 1999 and went on to beat a Juventus side that had the likes of Inzaghi, Zidane, Del Piero, Eka Davids. Do you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you can't just dismiss that because it's that mentality that got us over the line in the end. Do you know what I mean? So we can't just dismiss that. But at the same time, we have to look at things in context. We have to look at things in context. The fact that if Bruno Fernandes came into a team that was winning every single week, came into an environment that was winning every single week, maybe it'd be more fairer to make a judgment then. Because right now, it's very easy to judge players now if you were an ex-player for Man United. Because you had a great environment around you. You had a great manager. You had a great football club. We didn't have the Glazers. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. So that has to be looked at very, very carefully, you know, in regards to that. And we have to obviously take that into account and not just throw the book at Bruno or throw the book at Roy Keane as well. Because Roy Keane speaks a lot of truth as well. And I would say that sometimes we get too defensive. We get too snowflakeish. And some people just can't take what he's saying, you know, and because they never saw him play. You know, and I saw Roy Keane play, and I think Roy Keane's the greatest captain of all time, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, I know what a captain should be. Now, there was another comment on the same show in regards to that, is that Roy Keane is not a great captain, he's a great player. And that is something I agree with. Roy Keane is, Bruno Fernandes, should I say, is a great player, not a great captain. And that could be true too. You know, I think he's a great player. I think the captaincy weighs heavy on him. And there was a reason that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer initially didn't want to give him the captaincy. He didn't want to give him the captaincy originally. And this is what we have to take into account as well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I would say that many things can be true at the same time. And Roy Keane, unless you've experienced Roy Keane, you can't judge Roy Keane. Unless you've experienced Paul Scholes, you can't judge Paul Scholes. Because I've seen them from their debut all the way to their retirement bed. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. Let's read some of your comments, guys. Big up, everyone, of course. Big up, Tyborg. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're good. Jack, I don't understand why people call Bruno the savior. There is no savior when you're 14th. And Jack, this is something that I would say is that when you're the captain of a ship, right? Captain Jack. Anyway, when you're the captain of a ship, right? You're supposed to steer the ship to the shore and steer us to safety, right? That is what I would say. Now, that is where Roy Keane gets it right. And he's absolutely spot on. He's not the captain. He's not a captain material. Because when you're a captain, you're meant to inspire your players. You're meant to bring them up, right? Not throwing your arms around. Your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. But then I bring in the situation that, you know what, he's not the only problem at this football club. He's not the only issue. There's many issues, probably more worse than what he is at the moment. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. Big up, Baz. What's going on, my friend? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Tybo, Bruno is not perfect, but sometimes I have this feeling that he deserves better team and players around him. A lot of time this season, I felt sorry for him. He was the only one fighting. And Tybo, this is exactly what I've been talking about. Absolutely spot on in regards to, you know what? It's very easy for an ex-player to say this and that about a certain player who's playing today when they were brought into an environment that was winning all the time under Alex Ferguson, under the football club back then, who was absolutely the best football club in the world. And Alex Ferguson proved that. And I'll tell you why Alex Ferguson proved that. Because Alex Ferguson took out Roy Keane and put in other players, and they were successful as well. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is the thing, you know, and you look at with Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson's just a genius. Alex Ferguson, he could bring in Fabio and Raphael and play them right midfield and left midfield, and then he could play Fletcher and Carrick in the defense, and it could still work. You know, it was very easy in that environment to win. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no detriment, there's no disrespect to what Man United were back then, but Man United were a machine back then. You take out one, you replace him with another. You take out Bex, you replace him with Cristiano Ronaldo. Same thing, same thing, same thing. It was like that. And you know what? If Alex Ferguson was manager from 2013 to up to this day, we'll have a number of trophies. We'll have a number of Premier League titles. But you know what I would say? The self-righteousness in football is rife. There's too much self-righteousness that, you know what, me as a Man United fan, many years, I saw the success, I saw the failure, I saw everything. And what I would say is that it's very unfair to bring Bruno into this situation, because Bruno is a problem. He's not the best player. I don't think he's a great captain, but he's not the problem at Man United. He's not the problem. But to suggest that he's been the best player for Manchester United, I don't think it is real true. I don't. I think that there's a number of flaws in that statement. I think he was poor against Everton, apart from the free kick. But what I would say is that he's not the only one. There's players out there. There's players who can't defend, players who can't jump. Yeah, there's players on that pitch who can't create or score goals. There's players who don't look up when they're looking out to cross the ball. There's many problems in that football team that we have to look at. And, you know, not just Bruno. At least what I would say with Bruno is that he gives 100%. Bruno is always available. Bruno is always there. You know, regardless of what it is, he's always there. And this is what I argued with Garnacho. He's always there. He's always available. You can sing the praises of your Armads and stuff all you like, but they're not available. They're never available half the season again. And you can sing your praises about Luke Shaw and Mason Mount, but they're never available. So I look at those players every single week who are pulling in the shift every single week, and I praise those players. You know, so I do think it's a little bit unfair bringing Bruno into it, but I understand that why Roy Keane brought Bruno into it, because obviously Bruno is the captain. Absolutely. Sure. Jack. Pep would pull his hair out with Bruno's positioning. No, Bruno is not perfect. But as I said earlier in the show, that Bruno is not perfect. And he's nowhere near Paul Scholes, for example. Absolutely nowhere near. Absolutely nowhere near Roy Keane. He's not. And you would be lying to yourself if you thought that was the truth, right? There was doubts about Bruno Fernandes before we signed Bruno Fernandes. There was doubts from Manchester United, actually, from the board. There was doubts about his positioning. There was doubts about giving the ball away. These things were all there before we purchased Bruno Fernandes. They were already there. We already knew about that. His positioning was a little bit off here and there. This is why we were reluctant to sign him initially. We were. And what I would say, though, in his defense, is that you know what, he gives 100%. He's always there for the team. He fights for the team, and that's what I would say, Jack. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would say. Jack, I can't see Bruno playing a structured role and still having the same impact. You know, at the same time, what we would say is that if you're the captain of Manchester United, your responsibility is to bring the troops forward. When we started the game against Ipswich Town were dominating Manchester United. When we started the game against Everton were dominating Manchester United, right? Now, this is to do with not only the manager and the tactics and this and that and whatnot. This is to do with the captain, right? Why are we getting dominated at the beginning of games? Why is he not bringing the troops? Now, Roy Keane, Bruno Fernandes, captain. Bruno Fernandes throws his arms around as a captain. It's your fault. It's your fault. Roy Keane grab you by the shirt and say, what the F are you doing? Come on. That is the difference. That's the difference. And that is that. Unless you've witnessed that and you've seen that with your own eyes, you can't really make a damning statement on Roy Keane, in my opinion. In fairness, I don't see who else can do what Bruno does. And that is exactly what it is, Jack. And you know what? This is where the argument has different angles. And this is where a debate is fresh, you know, and a debate is good, you know, because at the end of the day, as I've said many times, who you're going to bring in that can do the same job, you know, and that's what I would say. You know, you can't bring in a player who doesn't do the job. Now, look, I would argue, as I said, if Bruno Fernandes was playing in the 90s, alongside David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, Dwight York, Andy Cole, he would be a great addition to the team. And that's what I would say, a great addition to the team. You know, forget about your Man Cities. I don't give two fucks about Man City, right? I care about Man United, right? If he was brought about into the Manchester United team in the 90s, he would be a key player for Man United. Alex Ferguson would like him. And plus, you know, when you look at when Bruno Fernandes came into the football team all those years ago under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was brilliant. He was brilliant. He was scoring every week. You know, he scored against Everton. Remember, he hit one for 30 yards. He was doing a lot, you know, at the end of the day. And maybe Man United are poison. Maybe Man United are bringing players down. And, you know, and it's very hard to fix. It is very hard to fix, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Jack, Mo Farah would cover 20k for United. I don't want him wearing the armband. True. Bruno is one of the problems, but he's not the problem. I agree with that, Shah. And that is the biggest thing I would say, is that if we want to win a league title, if we want to win the Champions League, I don't think Bruno's that guy. I think he'd be a good squad player, but I feel like it's unfair on him, just like it's unfair on other players as well, like Garnacho and that so much pressure has been put on them, you know, because they are responsible. They are the players who are playing for the worst team in history, as Ruben Amorim said. Do you know what I mean? The worst Man United team in history. And that's what I would say. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it's a little bit unfair to just single out one player. And what I said, and I've said this many times, right? There is a cultural problem at Manchester United. A cultural problem meaning that we are used to losing now. And you know what? With the likes of Everton, the likes of Southampton, the likes of Ipswich, their culture is passed down from generation to generation, which is non-achieving, you know, league, championship, Premier League, championship, Premier League. That's their culture. Now, Man United's culture used to be, you go, you come in, you go into a winning side. Win, all the way down, it gets passed on. Nowadays, it's underachieving, moaning, you know, blaming, and that is the culture of our football club, you know, and that is not getting us over the line for a Premier League title challenge. You cannot deny the facts, right? At the end of the day, you are a captain of Manchester United, and our Manchester United side are 14th in the Premier League table, right? And you can't deny that. You have survived Erik ten Hag, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? And now Ruben Amorim and Ralf Rangnick, right? That's 5 managers, guys. Do you know what I'm saying? And you know, you are responsible for that. You are responsible for that, mate. So at the end of the day, we need to look at the players that have been there a number of years to start saying, well, you've been there under Ragnick and Ole, you know, you've been there under Erik ten Hag, and now you're there under Ruben Amorim. So you know what? You need to take some responsibility and accountability. And I would say that actually 100%. One Europa final, Rashi said that the club deserves better. Times past, people seem to be only big money getter. Legacy is not made by talks. Critics sound will clatter. Shah. Plus, who would captain other than Bruno? In my opinion, he's the best captain we have for now. I don't know about that, Shah. I don't know about that because no other player has been given an opportunity to be captain. His captaincy was passed on by managers, right? So we don't know if De Ligt will be a better captain, Ugarte be a better captain, Licha be a better captain. We don't know that really. But what I would say is that his captaincy is not great. And I'll say that as a guy of experience. I've seen Rio Ferdinand, Manuel Vidic, Roy Keane, captains of Manchester United, Ryan Giggs, captains of Manchester United. And what's the overriding similarity between those players? I would say is that they would not throw their arms around and blame everyone else. They'll take accountability and they will bring the troops forward and inspire the team rather than it's your fault. Pass me there. I'm here. What are you doing? What are you doing? And that is the biggest problem that I have with it, you know. But again, I would stress that he is not the biggest problem at the football club. And that is what we have to clear up, of course. Bruno is all we have as a provider. Good, bad talents is what we have at the moment. And that is what it is, GK. Who else we got? Who else we got? You know, but that's not to say that we can't critique. Critique is important. Critique is important for improvement. You can't critique. You don't critique. You don't improve. And that for me is how football should be. You should be able to critique. As long as it doesn't get into the realms of personal, as long as it doesn't get abusive, as long as it doesn't become agenda-ridden, you know, as long as we don't have player FC, as long as we don't have none of that, you know, like, for example, I've seen people in my Twitter say that Harry Maguire is the reason Man United have been shit for many years. I mean, there is the Glazers. I mean, that is one thing, you know what I mean? And that's the problem, you know, with opinion. You know, opinion should be balanced. Opinion should be, that's true. What Roy Keane said there was true. But also you have to put it into context that this is what Bruno is having to deal with. You know, Bruno's having to deal with this. Roy Keane was lucky because he came at a time when we were successful, stable, great manager, great ownership. You know, with a very stable environment, everyone's happy, everyone's successful. Whereas Bruno has come into the worst Man United team in decades, and that you can weigh it up and say, you know what, you got to be a little bit fair with your criticism, of course. Big up. Unfair to single out, yes, Sal, yeah. But at the same time, GK. You're going to get singled out if you're the captain. Roy Keane was a captain. Roy Keane has his standards. Roy Keane was the captain. And Roy Keane has every right to call out a captain because the captain is the leader. You know, the captain is a representation of what the team is. And that's what I would say. So if the team is 15th, the captain of that team should take accountability too, right? Not all the accountability, but he should take a huge part of that because starting on the back foot against Ipswich, starting on the back foot against Everton, that's captain stuff right here, right? You need to get your captain and say, listen, yeah, we're going to start this game on fire. We're going to come on, guys, come on. Who are Ipswich? And we're going to absolutely blow them away. Who are Everton? We're going to blow them away. You know, and that is what the captain should be. Like, I just don't think he's that character. And this is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was trying to imagine. Cosmo, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Don't understand why Bruno is criticised after a good performance and other teams with much worse performance are criticised or they are passed over. Why is there focus on Bruno? Cosmo is simple because he's the captain. And that is the simple argument to that. I disagree with him being singled out. I disagree with the way that Roy Keane put it, but Roy Keane made a number of great points, right? He's the captain of a sinking ship, right? When you're the captain of a sinking ship, you expect the captain to steer you to safety, you know? But what I would say is that Bruno had a good game against Everton, not against Ipswich. His game against Everton was poor, apart from a free kick. Other than that, he's been poor for many, many months. And we have to bring that into the question. We have to argue that if we're going to improve, we have to talk about the overriding facts here, right? And you're talking to a guy, right, who's worked with his family, who knows Bruno's family personally, right? I've worked with his brother for 2 years, right? So I can look at things from a non-biased point of view and say that, you know what, he hasn't been great for, let's say, in 18 months, you weigh it up. Now, I'm not interested in stat padding. I'm not interested in stats and penalties and this and that, because at the end of the day, you look at Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, you know, even Andy Cole and Dwight York, and you can compare them with players of today. And you could say, look, you know what, Bruno's got a better stats than Scholes, but doesn't matter. Scholes was a positive influence on the team, and he contributed to the team being successful and pushing the team forward. You know what I mean? Not, you know what, clutching at 2-2 draw of Everton, or, you know, just about beating Ipswich 3-2 and things like that. Sometimes stats could be misleading, you know, and they can be. And stats are important, but also, you know, the bigger picture in regards to looking at things from a bird's eye view and looking at it and saying, you know what, it's not just that. Bruno's are really good at getting us out of trouble sometimes, but his positioning is over there and he contributes to more goals going in. Things like that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's true, but things like that can be true too. You know, things like that can obviously play a part. Rasta, can I be honest with you, Rasta? And I'll be honest with you, with all due respect, right? You were calling out Eric Ten Hag to be sacked for a long time, right? So I don't want to hear nothing about Eric Ten Hag and shared links and stuff like that. I like you, Rasta, but your ball knowledge is not there yet. So I say, with all due respect, look, those people calling out Ten Hag to be sacked and now are turning around and saying, you know, look what Ten Hag said. I don't want to hear it, because I told you guys about Eric Ten Hag. I told you guys that we're not going to improve if we sack Eric Ten Hag. So let's not bring it in there, man. I don't have time for that. Become a member. I might do. It's not toxic to criticize him. The way he plays is not sustainable at the highest levels. Jack, it's not toxic. And that's what I would say to you, mate. It's not toxic to criticize a player. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those players are standing on the shoulders of giants. They're standing on the shoulders of giants. And when I say that, I mean that those players, you know what I mean, are on the shoulders of greats, you know what I mean, who won things. So there's no problem in criticizing a player, as long as it doesn't get in the realms of abuse and stuff like that. Like I said, people could throw stats at me all day long about what Bruno's did. Bruno done this, Bruno done that. But when you look at the game and you look at the pattern of the game and you look at it from above, his positioning was there. He contributed to an attack there, which led to a goal there and stuff like that. So you have to look at football. Football's not absolute. Football is not, you don't just deal with what is, you know, little, you know, at the end of the day, you don't just deal with, you know, what you see with your eyes. It's more to it than that. Otherwise, you could look at Kevin Phillips, right? Let's look at Kevin Phillips. Right, I'm going to give Kevin Phillips an example, right? Kevin Phillips played in the lower end of football his whole career. He played for Sunderland. He was a Golden Boot winner in Europe. Right? Kevin Phillips, and he played for Sunderland. Statistically, Kevin Phillips is better than Andy Cole. Kevin Phillips is better than Dwight York. Kevin Phillips is better than Wayne Rooney, statistically. But it's not like that, is it? It's not like that, is it? It's like, you know what, you could say that, you know what, but the overall game is not there. He's not going to get a team and drag them from the depths of despair to bringing them into a title challenge and doing that, to be honest with you. He's not going to do that. You know what I mean? Big up, Randy. Bruno tries too hard times, plays everywhere. And Randy, that's a good point as well, because Randy, I agree with that. I think that the captaincy has given him more pressure. I think some people handle captaincy very well. I think that the responsibility and the overriding pressure on Bruno's shoulders is incredible. I agree with that. I do. And I think that his game changed. Once he was given the captain's armband, his game changed. Absolutely, his game changed, in my opinion. Just write this tweet, guys. Good morning, Grayo. What's going on, you legend? Hope you're doing well. Breaking Dawners, please hit the like button and subscribe button, guys. Fair play to Bruno. He has stepped up the last few weeks. Grayo, I will say 1 week. I think he was poor against Everton. I'll be honest with you. He had a free kick, and that's about it. The corners were poor, and the overall gameplay was poor. Stepped up for me is, a different level. We've seen football in the 90s and stuff like stepping up. He's not 14th place. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we drew with Everton, and I don't think we should celebrate a draw against Everton. We just beat Ipswich. It's not his fault, and that's what I would say, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. Big up, Earthan. Very true, Ralph. Sometimes I get annoyed when he runs himself in the ground when he has the ball after running and he passes, just go astray. That's sometimes a problem as well. But you know what? One thing we could say, Irfan, about Manchester United and about Bruno is that Bruno cares. Bruno cares about this badge. You know what I mean? Bruno cares about this badge. And to be honest with you, if more players cared as much as Bruno, we might be in a better position, in my opinion. Our next few games coming up, I want the team to get together and win going to be difficult, but they have to try. Yeah. Big up. Hi, Sal, my friend. Final exams. Big up. I hope you've done well, my friend. Big up, Sniper Man. I hope your exams went very, very well, my friend. Absolutely. I really hope so. Big up. Big up Ruben Amram, of course. Randy, Bruno was making a lot of missed passes from when he arrived, and also extremely good passes, and that's Bruno, and that's what we got. And Randy, as I said earlier in the show, before Manchester United signed Bruno, we had scouts go and watch Bruno at Sporting Lisbon, and many of the scouts were saying that he gives the ball away a lot. We knew what we were buying. This is the whole thing. We knew what we were buying back then. We knew that, with Bruno, he does great things, and he does, kamikaze things. He does weird things as well. That's what I would say. Baz, Bruno is good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. You see what Bruno telling players where to go, what to do. I feel for him. I'd rather have 11 Brunos any day. Baz, yeah, I would definitely have have a load of Brunos every day. Definitely. It would be very interesting, that's for sure. Don't know if we have the ball a lot. But, it would be very interesting, definitely. Let's have a look. Kevin Phillips, mate. Kevin Phillips. Sniper Man, you're too young, mate. You're too young. Kevin Phillips. Look him up, mate. Not Calvin Phillips. Does Bruno ever create chances for the striker? Don't get how he creates most chances. This stat padding again, at the end of the day, what I would say is that statistically, he's the best creative player that we have. He's always available. I would argue that it is a whole number of problems, not just Bruno, but the strikers as well. I don't think the strikers do the right run sometimes. I don't think they get into the right position sometimes, if I can argue that point in defense of Bruno. I don't think they make the right choices and stuff like that, in my opinion. Listen to Sal, a football education here. Thank you so much, UK Rap. Big up yourself. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Big up Earthan, of course, as well, the legend. Sorry I can't get through everyone's comments. My voice is going. My exams are okay. Hope you do well, Sniper Man. Wishing you the best of luck, mate. Good morning, Sanjay. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you, of course. Also, who agrees with me when I say Alti should be given time in the Premier League? I agree, Sniper Man. I do agree with that, my friend. I really do. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. FM. I don't know about you guys, but I can definitely see an Amram effect. I can as well, bro. I'm learning from him a lot as I try to understand the philosophy, and winning with 10 men convinced me that is the guy. Absolutely, Irfan. When you look at that game against Ipswich Town, and you look at how calm he was, how composed he was. And it's not the first time that we played against 10 men and done well, you know, against Arsenal, of course, with 10 men and the referee against us. We managed to get the result. We managed to go over the line, of course. So, you know, that is very, very, very important to look at, you know, at the end of the day. Hold on, it's my wife. Got to send the wife some love. Absolutely. Sniper Man. Sniper Man. You're too young, bruv. You can't remember. You can't remember Kevin Phillips, not Calvin Phillips. He gave the name a bad name. He gave the player Kevin Phillips. Kevin Phillips, of course, guys. If I bring in Kevin Phillips, and when you look at Kevin Phillips' stats and stuff like that, you'll be absolutely shocked. So, guys, if I share this with you, if I share this with you real quickly, if I share this screen. This is Kevin Phillips, of course, guys. That is Kevin Phillips. Me and Kevin Phillips at Soccer AM. There you go. There you go, guys. That's Kevin Phillips. Look at his goal scoring record, guys, and come back to me. Couldn't even get any. He couldn't even get in the England team. There you go. Thank you, Sniper Man. Big up, Sniper Man. Big up, Sniper Man. Yourself, absolutely. Shah. Apparently, we got Bruno because of the injuries to McTominay and Pogba, but overall, I wanted Bruno before we got him. I did as well, absolutely. And I regret it, regardless how crap he performed in the last 2 years. And I don't regret. No, you don't regret it, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at things from a fair point of view and you know, a balanced point of view, he has been probably our best signing post Sir Alex Ferguson, and you have to say that. You have to. I know there's a lot of hate. I know there's a lot of abuse, but when we look at that and we look at things fairly, you would have to say that Bruno and Licha have been our best signings, in my opinion, over the past 10, 12 years. And you cannot sway away from that. Do you know what I mean? You have to be fair and stuff. Also, did you hear about Garnacho attitude? Yes, I heard about the walking off the pitch and the Instagram post. Guys, take it with a pinch of salt. He's 20 years old. He's 20 years old, right? He wants to play football. He's going to be a little bit disappointed. He posted another picture. He apologized. He's passionate. And to be honest with you, what I would say, Snapperman, if a player came off and he wasn't disappointed, if he came off the pitch and he wasn't disappointed, I would be worried then. Because at the end of the day, at least you know that he cares. At least you know that he cares about the football club. Absolutely. Imagine if our team had mastered Amarim's system. Bruv, let me tell you, Irfan, hold that. That's what I would say. To all those people doubting Amarim, to all those people, you know what, jumping on him, you know, at the moment, I say hold that. Because when you see Ruben Amarim start to play, right, when it starts to come into fruition, you're going to see a Manchester United team. I'm telling you, you're going to see a Man United team. Look at Dorgu, right? Look at Dorgu. Dorgu is his only signing. His only signing is Patrick Dorgu. Dorgu has been arguably our best player over 2 games since he signed for Man United. Now, imagine we had 11 Dorgus on the pitch. Now, guys, I want to get in some news real quickly, if you don't mind, in regards to players coming into the football club. As usual, of course, I want to talk about this. Manchester United could quite possibly use a swap deal with Galatasaray for Rasmus Højlund and Osimhen. So Osimhen coming to Manchester United and Rasmus Højlund going to Galatasaray. This is a rumor that has been spoken about on Turkish media, and Manchester United could possibly explore the avenue of bringing Osimhen in on a swap deal. There was rumors earlier in the season about Rashford going to Galatasaray and Osimhen coming to Man United, but Rashford didn't want to go to Galatasaray. Rasmus Højlund, however, would be open to the idea of going to Galatasaray and Osman coming to Manchester United. Now, look, we look at swap deals in general. Swap deals are not always, they don't always work. Remember that Mkhitaryan, and we remember Sanchez, of course, they don't always work, you know, and obviously there is the, agent fees as well that need to be negotiated. Should that agent get the money? Should that agent get the money? And stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And what I would say is that, you know, would you agree with that? Would you take Osman for Rasmus? Look, I have a soft spot for Rasmus. People know I have a soft spot for Rasmus, and people know that I support Rasmus. And I feel like it's been unfair on him, the graveyard shift up front. But how much patience should Manchester United have on Rasmus? How long do we wait until he starts, you know, making things happen? Look, I know creative side of things. The creative side of things in that team is not the best. We don't create enough chances. We don't. And I know that. But at the same time, I look at things and I think you still have to make chances for yourself sometimes, you know, and make the right choices. And, you know, there's only so much that Man United can do for you, you know, and at the end of the day. And I wouldn't mind Osman. I'm a big fan of Osman. Fantastic player. Fell out with a number of Napoli executives, which is why he's leaving Napoli. That has to be looked at. Obviously, his personality has to be looked at as well. But I'm a big fan of him, of course. Randy, I liked it when Nacho got angry to protect her. I like it as well, Randy, because at the end of the day, bro, what I would say is that if he didn't get angry, you would worry, wouldn't you? You would have a little bit of worry that he didn't get angry. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you want him to do what you want him to love playing for Man United. You want him to be upset when he gets taken off. Not like the likes of Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. You know what I mean? These players who are happy to sit on the bench and take a wage, and I'm happy with that. That's what they are. He's not like that. He wants to play football, and this is exactly what I'd say. I'll take 1,000 Brunos, 1,000 Garnachos for people who want to play for this football club every single week, rather than players like Luke Shaw or Mason Mount and this and that who don't want to play for the football, just want to take a wage and sit on their backside. And when they get a little bit of a bruise, they don't play. They want to play anymore. Højlund will be pissed. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't want Højlund to go just now. Yeah, fair point, Sniper Man. I don't either. I don't want him to go either. I like Rasmus Højlund. But if a swap deal came with Victor Osimhen, would you do the deal? Would you do the deal, Victor Osimhen? So sad that Dog got a red card. So unfortunate. Not a malicious attempt to player, but then again, rules are rules. That is it, and it's United. At the end of the day, if it was me, I wouldn't give a red card for that. But you know what? I'm biased. United at the end of the day. But I tried to defend it. You just don't jump in with your studs, not in the Premier League. But it was a 50-50. He won the ball, and it was an accident. Unfortunately, these things don't get taken into account. But what I would argue is this, Irfan, is that I can't remember the game, but I saw a tackle just like that on a Man United player, and nothing was given. I've seen it. Baz, this team don't want to play higher pressure block. We counter-attack. Southgate must be drooling over this team. Absolutely. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, counter-attack football. Some of these players are designed for counter-attack football. Unfortunately, counter-attack football is not sustainable. You can't play counter-attack football if you want to be successful, in my opinion. Absolutely not. Maguire acts mastered the slide. Big up Harry Maguire for the goal against Ipswich, by the way, fan. Just to sneak that one into you. Scored a couple of goals in recent weeks. Southgate, no, big up. Ratigi. Ratigi's a good player. Atalanta striker, of course. 27-28 though, not sure. I think I saw Mount in the rugby promotional video in Man United 2 days ago. Is that kind of banter, Sniper? Are you trying to be smart, Sniper Man? Are you giving me banter? Irfan, yes, Sal, there was a similar tackle in the Liverpool game too, but no red card. Yeah, that was it. Irfan, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, bruv. And you know what? It's not the first time. It's happened before as well. Man United seem to get the rough of the green when it comes to red cards. When I look at that red card, right? Look how many times he had to look at it to give a red card, right? Because you look at it from a sporting point of view. Football is a contact sport. Football is a contact sport. You're going to make tackles. You're going to hurt players. It happens sometimes. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you know, I was raised in Cantona and things like that. I used to stamp on players all the time. Didn't do Southgate any harm. Well, you know what I mean? I think it might have done, to be honest with you. You never know. Big up, Baz. Big up, big up. Earthbound, what I would say is that, and I'm not saying this just because it's Manchester United, but I would say that they do show bad bias towards Man United in regards to sending off our players. We all saw the Casemiro sending off a year or so ago, 2 years ago, when he put his hands on the shoulders of the player. And he got sent off. And the reason he put the hands on the shoulders of the player, because if people don't understand the geographics of Old Trafford, on the touchline at Old Trafford, there's a little bit of a slope, right? So the player was there. I've forgotten what player was it. A Fulham player? Correct me if I'm wrong. But the player was on the slope. So Casemiro was looking down at the player. So he put his hands on his shoulders, right? The player's shoulders. And they gave a red card to Casemiro for strangulation, right? And then a week later, on a straight pitch, we saw one player strangling the player. Nothing. And this has been going on for years. Madness. Now, guys, another player that Man United have been interested in. Of course, I brought him in the show first, of course, many weeks, months ago. Now, Samu Agahawa. Samu Agahawa is a Porto player. He's got 19 matches this season, 13 goals, a prolific marksman, an absolute beast. We did play against him this season for Porto, was very good, scored against us, of course, did score a header, of course, a very, very good player of Man United are looking at. Someone who can truly hold up the ball, someone who can truly score goals as well. A very, very good player, Samu Agahawa. Man United have him on their radar. Now, this seems like recycled news because I brought it in weeks ago, months ago, but it has resurfaced and Man United are looking at Agahawa. In fact, Manchester United had scouts at the recent Porto game to look at Samu Agahawa. Samu Agahawa's contract expires in 2029. He's worth about 50 million euros, guys. 50 million euros. So, you know what? Spanish international, one cap for Spain. Would you do the deal, guys? Would you do the deal? Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal, of course. And very, very good player. Centre forward who plays for Porto, of course. Absolutely, of course, guys. Sniperman, Sal, are you flexible? Maybe you can be United's goalkeeper. I used to be a goalkeeper, Sniperman, but I was crap. I was too short. I didn't grow. I ended up becoming a defender. Absolutely. Sal, can the fourth officials of VR hear the commentators' comments? No, I don't. Probably a fan. They probably got the Sky cameras or whatever cameras in the office, to be honest with you. But I haven't heard anything about that. I only heard that they listen to the referee and them that's it. Do you know what I mean? But when you look at Mr. Oliver being in the VAR room, it does fill you with a little bit of dread, doesn't it? You know, looking at the referees these days, the Premier League referees. You know, in England, and guys, what people don't understand is that in England, there's a cult mentality in regards to football teams. Like, for example, Yorkshire, people don't like Manchester United. You know, obviously Merseyside don't like Manchester United. So when you look at areas around, like, you know, and in London and things like that, you know, there are certain referees who support certain teams, and this gets obviously leaked out. And, you know, this happens, like favoritism happens and bad decisions happen. This is why I'm an advocate for foreign referees. I think Man United I think the Premier League need to bring in referees from all around the world. We bring in players from all around the world, managers from all around the world. I think we also need to bring in referees from all around the world, because only then you would minimize favoritism and bad decisions, in my opinion. It was a red card, but not malicious. His foot went over the ball in the tackle. I would say no, but I'm from a different generation, Randy. I think it's Samu Amaridian. He almost joined us, Chelsea, last season. Samu, let me get it right, guys. Samu Agahawa, mate, is his name. Samu Agahawa is what he's known as. And he's a striker for Porto. He's a striker for Porto. Samu Agahawa, mate. So the game where Casemiro sent off, VR completely ignored the Villa player blatantly choking one of their players. Yeah, absolutely, mate. And this is the problem that we have to deal with. People look at me and they argue with me saying that Man United fans are delusional. Man United fans, you know what? They're always blaming the referee. But you know what? You know, there's fundamental problems with the refereeing against Man United. And we see that even again in the last game, even in the last game against Ipswich, we had problems with the refereeing. There was loads of favoritism and free kicks going to Ipswich Town, loads of yellow cards going to Manchester United. You know, I think that they are showing a lot of bias against Man United. And I dislike it, to be honest. Sal, can I tell you a joke? Yes, you can, Sniper Man. Go for it. Don't bore me, but go for it. GM, good morning. Michael, how you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Greetings from Ghana. Big up the Ghana family. Of course, guys. I want to talk briefly about the African nations. And there has been JJ Okocha. There has been Mikel from Chelsea speaking about the African nations. Now, look, listen, when I was a young lad, I used to watch a team, Nigeria, from 1994 to 1998. And I marveled at how good that Nigeria team was. And this isn't just exclusively to Nigeria. I used to watch Eurosport and I used to watch the African nations when I was younger. And I used to look at all these players and I used to look at these teams and excited to see these teams, you know, teams you wouldn't have otherwise seen, the likes of Kenya and Mali, you know, and Ivory Coast and teams like that, you know, and I would, you know, really get interested in players and different types of talents around the world. And it captivated me, you know, and I would say that Jamie Carragher is very, very out of touch in regards to his comments about the African nations. I think Africa is a fantastic continent for football, has produced some of the best players in the world, including the players who didn't play for African nations. They played for France, the likes of Zidane and the likes of Patrick Vieira and these type of players, you know. And I would say that a big, huge part, a dose of respect needs to be given to every single continent that plays football in the world, because every single football is not exclusively down to Europe. Football is a world sport that is loved by everyone around the world. And you know what? When I was growing up watching football, I had no bias in me. I just loved watching football. You know, I just loved it. I loved football from all different angles. As I told Michael Smiling the other day, from Hearts of Oak in Ghana, you know what I mean, all the way to FC Tokyo in Japan. I used to watch football and you know, I love football and to this day, you know, and you know, I don't agree with what some of the opinions that certain people are making in the media. They're normalizing ignorance, and I don't like normalization of ignorance. I don't like normalization of racism. I don't like any things like that, which, you know, it all boils down to at the end of the day. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, and when I look at that Nigeria team from 1994, 98, as I brought it in, I look at the likes of Sunday Elise, JJ Okocha, Daniel Amakachi, Kanu. You know, I look at those players, Taribo West. And I think, and that team was Amuniki, you know, that team was fantastic and showcased a way to play football, an absolute way to play football. And, you know, respect should be obviously given in regards to these these teams, of course, guys, and nations of football, you know, who all contribute towards football, of course, in my opinion. I was very disappointed. I mean, I expect nothing different from the likes of Jamie Carragher. Of course I don't. But I want to bring this into the channel, guys. I want to bring this into the channel really quickly, if you don't mind. Let me bring this in.
There are some players that will say something, you just overlook it. You know, if you look at their career, if you look at the type of football that they played, then you can understand, you know. I mean, you won't want your son to be like Harry. So you can never appreciate African football or the talents that come from Africa.
I love it. JJ Okocha absolutely schooling Jamie Carragher. What a moment. Absolutely schooling him. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. He absolutely smashed it. Big up, of course. Thank you so much, Randy. Yeah, guys, hit the like. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. We need prominent, proven striker now and a good finisher. Sammy is decent, but if he's still in progress, it's still a good point. So what are the two major religions in Ireland? Catholic and Protestant, mate. Christian. Hi, Sal and all. Big up. Big up. Asif, what's going on, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Really good to see you, mate. Good to see you. How is it possible for the commentators to know how many minutes of extra time? Sometimes 2 minutes before time, and there are times that there's a substitute and before it falling time. Corruption, Earthband, it's, you know, something sinister's going there, something's brewing going there, my friend. Sal, how strong are the rumours of Pogba and Rafael Leo joining United? I would say Rafael Leo will cost about 100 million. That's if it's not happening. Definitely not. Randy, calm down. Thanks, Sal, for your comment on African nation. As that guy, he is not serious. During the playing days of Liverpool, we saw him. He's a racist. Anything about Africa is not a good thing. At the end of the day, look, you know what I would say, guys, and you know, we got to stop normalization of ignorance and in media, in football, and things like that. You know, we saw it in the World Cup. We saw it. We saw the virtual signaling in Qatar. We saw that. And you know what? We've got to stop normalization of ignorance and misinformed people who have their genders, you know, who are, you know, driven by sinister motives. And that's what I would say we need to do, of course. Wonder which Harry is he referring to? Harry Houdini. This is hilarious, Sal. Very true. The guy nailed it. Absolutely, Asif. Big up, Asif, of course. Man United and Liverpool are the two major religions in Ireland. Sniper man. No, I wouldn't say that, mate. Football's not a religion, mate. God's more important. Only one God, guys. Respect God. Respect God. Football's a sport to be enjoyed. Enjoy your day, fan. I remember the video, Jamie spitting on the fans. Yeah, he did that. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget, if you're new, please don't forget to subscribe to the video and smash a like. If you could do that for me, that'd be very important, guys. Keep your notifications on. I'll be back later on for the match preview between Manchester United and Fulham in the FA Cup, of course. We got to wait until Sunday, of course, for the game, guys. So don't forget to put your notifications on. Don't forget to smash a like. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you all for your support. Much love to you all. I shall see you later on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, all being well, of course. God willing. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day. Peace.